All right, welcome back to Maryland's Cafe Society radio show here at 1340 WJOL, WJOL.com, and Maryland's Cafe Society.com. Well, we're closing in on the 3 o'clock hour. 2:44 is our time. My goodness. And, of course, we want to welcome again officially to the show Sherman L. Jenkins, publisher of Tell Me Something Good, web newspaper focusing on everything about the African-American life outside of the city of Chicago. Welcome again to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right.
And, of course, we want to make people aware of this writing project that you've finished. And, of course, basketball fans will be loving this book, especially those who appreciated the original Harlem Globetrotter. And, of course, the book is called Ted Strong Jr., The Untold Story of an Original Harlem Globetrotter and Negro League's All-Star.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. You say original Harlem Globetrotter and Negro League All-Star. My goodness, this is original? Was there?
Well, he was. That's what they called them in the early days. They called them the original Harlem Globetrotters. So it's the team that was put together by Abe Saperstein back in the early, I should say, the late 20s, early 30s. And Ted Strong Jr. was an integral part because he was a young guy who was big for his age, according to his father. Mm-hmm. And they used to call him the Jeep or Mr. Hands. And they would promote the Globetrotters appearing across the country, and they would use Ted and other players, and they would use them to promote and say, hey, this is the guy who has the biggest hands in basketball.
Okay.
And so for most of the 30s and the 40s, Ted Strong Jr. Was synonymous with the Kansas City Monarchs and the Harlem Globetrotters. Mm-hmm. He was a superb athlete. He captured the 1946 Negro League home run crown, and he played center and guard for the Harlem Globetrotters. And he was a guy that really did and played in a number of key games. And you have to remember the Harlem Globetrotters in their early beginnings, they were a traveling basketball team. They didn't do all the tricks. They were
an actual basketball
team that in 1940 they won the World Basketball Championship.
Wow!
And Ted was the captain of the team, and they won that crown in 1940 at the Chicago Stadium in Chicago.
Yeah.
And so he was also integral in terms of playing with them when in 1948 they played against what was known at that time was the Minneapolis Lakers. This was the early time of the National Basketball Association. This is the prelude before they came into prominence. And at that time it was the Globetrotters, which was well known among everyone in the country, against the Minneapolis Lakers. And unfortunately, in our country at that time, this the white team against the all-black Harlem Globetrotters.
Okay.
And the Globetrotters defeated them, and Ted Strong Jr. played center against George Mikan, who was 6'10".
Oh, yeah.
And you remember him from just one of the greats, the NBA greats.
Yeah,
He's on the Hall of Fame. And so they defeated them. And Ted went on to play, in addition to basketball, he played baseball. Mm-hmm. And he was playing with the Chicago American Giants, and then he joined the Kansas City Monarchs. And he played with them for almost 11 years, mm-hmm. playing alongside Satchel Paige. Mm-hmm. He also played with Willard Brown and Cool Papa Bell and Buck O'Neal. Those who are familiar with the Negro Leagues know mm-hmm. these are Negro League greats.
Yeah.
And playing for the Kansas City Monarchs from 1939 to 1947, this was a time when in Black America, the Kansas City Monarchs were considered our Yankees.
Yes.
They was the superior team. They won all the championships. And here was Ted. He started out at shortstop. Then he went to first base, and then he ended up playing in right field. And there's a lot of quotes with regards to Ted, and that's what I have in my book that is due out October 16th. But people can go on to their favorite book online bookstore, whether you go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Anderson bookstores. You can go and purchase the book, pre-order it. But in my book, I include a number of quotes that a number of the Negro League stars said about Ted. And here's another thing that people don't know. Ted Strong Jr. was among a small number of players that were being considered to integrate the baseball before they started looking at Jackie Robinson. And he was just that good.
Yeah.
And there was one quote that was that it was so direct and really stuck with me, and that was from Othello Renfro. It's from the book Voices from the Great Black Baseball Leagues by John Holloway. And he said, Othello said, "We always thought that Ted Strong was about the most ideal ball player, had all the tools, a switch hitter, and could play just about anywhere. Anywhere you put Ted, Ted was at home. First base, shortstop, outfield. From outfield, he could really throw. You couldn't take a turn from first to third on him. He wound up in the Texas League, as Willard Brown did. But he was one of those who we really thought that he was going to be the one." Mm-hmm. And, Ted stayed and played in the Negro Leagues, and then he went into the Mandate Leagues in Canada when the Negro Leagues began to fade out in the late 50s.
Okay.
He was very disheartened because there was always this talk in the sporting world that they were going to give African Americans a tryout with the white teams, and they never did it.
Okay.
They would say they would do it, and they wouldn't. So Ted, one time talking to his father, and they said, "Ted, you got to hang in there." And he said, "Dad, they're not going to let us in. I might as well just enjoy myself and have a great time." And so, unfortunately, he didn't really keep that command of keeping himself, and he just got discouraged. But he stayed with it. He played in the Canada, and he stayed with the Globetrotters until unfortunately in March 2nd, 1978, he passed away at the age of 61 after suffering an asthma attack.
Okay. Oh, man. Look, we got to bring you back for Black History Month for sure.
Well, thank you.
Because I want to have some time to delve into the book. And I see that, even the Globetrotters were featured in the Ebony magazine. And just talk to you more, because you have a lot of history and insight that I think folks need to hear about, and your research is very thorough.
Well, I hope they go to www.tedstrongjr.com.
Okay.
And there you go there, and you can be able to purchase the book. Or, as I said, you can go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Anderson bookstores, and be able to purchase the book and read for yourself about this untold, unsung hero of a two-sport athlete that a lot of people, I think, will be quite impressed.
Yeah. And just, like for my contemporaries, just to know that the Harlem Globetrotters were an original basketball team. They weren't this circusry that we grew up knowing.
Exactly.
For me, they were the tricks team. They could do all this stuff with the basketball, but
and
they
as you
were
see from that photo there, Ted could be able to take the ball and let it roll on the back of his arms and go from hand to hand, and he learned that from his father. But I have a lot to be able to tell you about him and his brother Othello Strong, and also with regards to the Negro Leagues and with the Harlem Globetrotters. I think a lot of people would be very, very interested in.
Very good. We'll have you back so that we can spend a little bit more time on this, Sherman. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for the book. And, of course, thank you for your work and the time that you put into putting this book together.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
We'll bring you back. All right, everybody, stand by. When we come back, it's Soul Bomb Says.